moving. And all right. Get some music moving. Hope everybody had an alright weekend. Just digging up some paints here as we round out this commission that I'm working on. It's, I won't say taking longer than I anticipated, but I haven't been as dedicated and drilled in on it as I possibly could be here. Make some progress on a couple different things. I'm getting them just now to the point where they can get sealed up and then get their panels lined. So I think that'll be some good progress here to see them kind of start taking that next step. I think I'm going to start that. I'm going to use this other drawer here as a stand. The other evening, I guess afternoon, when I was painting, and got them to this level with their verdigris, and then the shoulder pads are on the level. May do some additional highlighting, a little teal on that one, but I started painting the lenses, leather details. Got to blacken a couple of these arm gaskets. So maybe we'll start there. The idea being that get them as ready as I possibly can. Might have to run and grab a couple pieces of paper towel, but yeah, let's just start here. These little details are perhaps a pain to get to, but they really make it in the end with the models. The little details really sell it. I got it in his legs. I don't know if I can safely get in here too much. But yeah, we're at that stage where, oh, look at this familiar face. Daniel, good morning. How are you today? We got your Christmas card. Thank you so much. Not too bad. That's good to hear, sir. Just tidying up these details a little bit. Daniel says, no problem. I hope you had an amazing one. I sure feel like I did. Yeah. Christmas is always all right, I find. It needs to dry a little bit, and then I can do a little bit more. It's been a while since I've actually caught you online, sir. I know this time of year can be kind of hectic, though. I think I'm getting all these little details here. Sometimes they go smoother than others. It's an awkward angle to try to film. Dance has been really bad with my hands. Oh my. We got Robbie Extra. Robbie Extra. Well, hey, all back at you. How are you? Daniel, do you think something like this would be beneficial for you? Because you can grip and then rest your hand on like this bar. Long time no see at Daniel. Just trying to get these completely covered back in like the recesses. It's kind of hard to... There we go. That's good. Dan says, maybe. Where did you get these? So this is called a Wrathcore, and this is a little one. The bigger one is like a grip you can hold with your hand. It might actually even be better. And then you can get these bars for them at different heights. So like 50, 70, and 90 mil heights on this bar. I tried to see if they were orderable into your area a couple months back when you were having an issue. But I couldn't figure out how to send things from Germany. I struggled hard enough trying to figure out how to send things to you from the US. But PK Pro is the website, and this is the Wrathcore V3. There's only a few dollars difference between them. Just a couple more details here, and this guy will be done. We'll set him aside. Actually, I'm going to see if this guy dried enough that I can get his arm completely covered. I'll come back through and touch up. I got to clean up a few details on all of them before they get sealed anyhow, metallic-wise. But yeah, when I set these guys down, they will have their lenses and their guns all but dry brushed. The guns will be done all but the dry brushing. Lenses are done. All of their details. The only thing that they'll need to have done that I should be doing. Good point. Thank you for bringing that up, Daniel. Is their shoulders need edged out. So that should be happening. I don't think that I have my agitators handy. I don't know what I did with them. Daniel says Germany? Oh, I'll get one ordered. Cheers, man. I've tried painting daily, and it's like painting with your kids of 3 brings back from play school. You want to chuck it straight in the bin. Oh. Did your parts for the airbrush come in? He says, yes, sir, works perfectly. Thank you so much. Hey, I'm flabbergasted at the fact that that happened to it. That's terrible. It has to be what had happened. There's no way that that stuff just comes out of there without some kind of customs manipulations. For those not familiar, I shipped Daniel a spare airbrush that I had, and it came to him missing pieces. So what's that about? I can't help but feel like I ought to be highlighting this edge in some way. Let me see what we have here. Good old customs. Good old rage-inducing customs. Just getting some white here. I'm gonna see what this color turns into. A fun kind of color. Let's see what we have. We'll do an experiment on this guy. Nothing like making a little extra work for yourself here at the final hours. Make sure we're in some focus. Clean that up there. I don't know, maybe I like this color better. Just a little bit brighter. Finally played your sound. I think I like the look of that more. It says on the PC now. Oh, maybe that's why it didn't play. Robbie says, good tip. Those holders, I just dropped Wrathcore a note, so it might add them to the web shop in the near future. Steven actually started streaming. I caught one of his streams the other day. He is a world-class painter, by the way. There we go. Yeah, that's quite a bit brighter, a little bit more noticeable. I have a little marine here on my desk to keep me company, keep me inspired to paint the little bubble boys. Look at this guy. Super legit. Such colors. That's right. Look at that basing. Just these little highlights there. Daniel asks, "Are you anywhere near finishing them?" Yes, I am. As they come out of the box here, and I set them over, this is pretty much done for them. The only things that have to happen is they'll get sealed, and then they got to sit for a few days, and then they'll get all their panel lining done, and then they'll get matte varnished, and then I'm going to come through with a, because it'll dull back their metallics, I've got a little highlight color that I've been using. I'm going to highlight like the tips of the wings, and then maybe little bits on their helmets. But that's it. This is the last time I'm touching any of them other than to put magnets in them. We'll call that tabletop ready. There's of course other things that could be done, but I'm thinking I'll have them completely ready for panel lining here within the week. And just get them done. Just haven't had the time here the last few weeks. For a moment there, I was starting to feel some burnout, and so I needed to do some other stuff. So I painted that Hobbit, painted that skin tones on that bust. Just for something different to do. Daniel says, seems like forever ago. Sure does. Is there something I saw on him that needed to be blacked out? What was it? Gone now. Yeah, it has been a little while, I suppose. But with the scale of this army, I feel like I'll be painting different things for it for a while. That I'll I don't know, bulk of next year. I'm learning to get a little bit faster too. Whoopsie. Clean this up. Try to keep enough paint on my brush. Keep the paints flowing, but I watched the Captain America origination movie last night, and then I watched The Winter Soldier. I started Civil War, but I didn't finish it. Oh, thank you so much for the host, Daniel. A little detail. Daniel says, I actually think I watched them. Oh, yeah? It's supposed to be impossible to make mistakes when you use the edge of your brush like this. Yet I manage. Yes, I do. Chaos Engine says, now that is a strong beard. I feel like going out to the woods and making a log cabin just looking at it. Now that sounds like a manly thing to do. Good morning, how are you today? Yes, there's... Oop, hang on. Yeah, there's just certain things that ooze a good time. Says, yeah, good mate, and yourself? I'm all right, you know, in here just edging out shoulder pads. Rage-inducingly messing up on occasion. I always keep a wet paintbrush on hand to clean up mistakes like this. You just tidy it up a little. Chaos Engine says, had some crazy heat waves here in Australia. Cooled down finally. I was reading that you guys are having some dispute about the New Year's fireworks. Is that true? What's the deal with that? Probably makes sense to cancel the display. All it does is cost money. If it's going to endanger people. Yeah. because we're battling major fires across all of Australia. Yeah. We had, here in the U.S., out in California, we've had a number of bad fires over the last few years. We've also seen an increase in rainfall this past year, so not that that in any way relates, but we've had some bad ones lately. Oh, how about that? Okay. Just get this little detail. Be done. And do a couple more shoulder pads before I switch to the black paint since I'm loaded up. Chaos says we have firefighters from around the world helping. Yeah, that's one thing, at least here in the States, we're very big on. Like, our firefighters will pick up and go whenever something like that happens. Actually, I have a number of friends that were in the service, and I don't think I realized how close our two militaries were between the U.S. and the Australians, but, like, we worked together on a lot of stuff. Actually, not every single one of them, I'm talking different branches here, had nothing but good things to say about the Australian servicemen and women. Chaos says, yeah, we are very close. The ANZUS alliance we have. Okay. I think we have an American base over here. It probably. We put base on things like people add sriracha to a sandwich. Yeah, I like that shoulder pad edging a lot better than the darker tone. Oh, man. Actually, I know a handful of Australian streamers. It's probably because of the time difference. Like, you all are up chilling, gaming, enjoying your evenings when I'm getting my day going. It is 6:04 a.m. here. Gail says, I think the only thing Australia has issues with is China is one of our biggest imports for our products. And at the moment, I don't think the U.S. like China. Well, I don't know that we've ever really liked too much with China. But, yeah, lately we were having a handful of disputes. Most of that is because China is not a creator of innovation. China is a replicator of innovation. And so as things are developed, they don't seem to care much about intellectual property. They just take the design, replicate it, and be done. They're very, very good at that. And that's not the Chinese people as a whole. That's, actually, I think their government and their businesses are all intertwined, so I think it's just a governmental thing. They're also oddly really good at like taking that design and improving it. Guess says, yeah, man, 934 here. I agree. Just the governments all seem to be crappy. Yep, there you go. See, speaking as an American, don't like governments. We don't trust them. Period. Gets us all antsy. Pretty sure. There it goes. Sometimes the answer is just persistence when you're painting something like this. Just gotta hit it with a couple more. Thank you, Chaos, for making the Corgi do his little dance. Chaos says, yeah, I hate politics. We need to all get along and have barbecues with beers. You know, the interesting thing is, everybody wants to have these 50,000 foot arguments without getting down to the level of detail on any of the issues. But once you get down to the level of detail, people tend to disagree far less than they do at the level of like philosophical difference. Which is what tends to happen when you have like things that are designed to polarize. And that's what agendas do. If you were to pick a given subject, like let's just say in painting, we have like a new Cold War, and it's between people that like to paint with layers and people that like to wet blend. And there's big philosophical differences when the reality is that both of them are useful for different things. You need both. But until you get down to the level of detail, you can't really make too many decisions. You can just sit there and badmouth one another and make fools of yourselves. Wrathcore? Oh, Steven, good morning, sir. How are you today? For those of you not familiar, Steven is a very, very legitimate painter, and the Twitch community is far greater for having him in our midst. I am well, sir. Just edging out some shoulder pads and a few tabletop standard and Marines. Chaos says, I did see that argument a while ago. I'm not sure if it is still going, where people think airbrushing is cheating. You know, it's interesting to me that someone would have that opinion. The reality, to me at least, is that an airbrush, just like anything else, is a tool. It can speed things up. It has certain capacities that it's just best at. I think the reality of it is that with painting a miniature, it's all about the finishing techniques. And there's really no shortcuts with those. I do feel like with an airbrush, you can speed up almost all of the techniques that get you to the point where you can start doing the finishing work on a model. And for that, how could you refute it? I do feel like a lot of people's arguments are that the airbrush is like a pay-to-play situation. It's like oh, well, you can afford this, and so the people that cannot will kind of downplay it. But it's not like the airbrush is easy to use. You got to learn it. It's hard. Wrathcore says, Ups, thanks for the follow. Seems they came from here. Daniel says, just about to buy a holder of yours. Actually, Steven, Daniel here has been struggling with some hand fatigue, some other issues, and I actually mentioned to him that one of your grips might be a good solution for them. The longer they paint, the more the tremors seem to get worse, and I was actually recommending the grip perhaps with a longer handle, depending on what Daniel finds to be comforting or comfortable. To use the bar to sort of stabilize that situation and maybe take some of the stress off the hands. That's where that whole conversation started. Robbie's shouting out to Wrathcore. Kay says, I guess if it's a competition and the rules said no airbrushing, then yeah. I don't see that happening. Airbrush, no airbrush, you still have to be able to paint your model. And that's a fact. What I wouldn't understand is this concept of, like, airbrushing is not something that's technical. You know, somebody that thinks an airbrush is cheating has never used an airbrush. I can tell you that right now. Unless they're jokingly saying, like, God, this thing's so cool, it's kind of like cheating. But it's really not. Pack some. This is just a cobalt blue. When I talked to the gentleman that these belong to, their opinion was that you cannot do enough verdigris. And I said, you can do too much. You really can. But we'll make them extra sloppy. See what we can't do here. Maybe we'll do something crazy over here. Just go crazy on this corner. I think that'll look all right. Daniel says it's worth a try. Yeah, it's absolutely worth a try, Daniel. Did you go with the extended grip or the smaller puck? Check on the music real quick here. Well, that dries just a little bit. Rathcore says, definitely, I had many users with tremor issues. They said the holders improve it a lot. Yeah, my younger brother, the only argument that I would give to me living in the States is, you know, trying to get one from overseas. And I'd said to my younger brother, like, hey, I really like, how cool are these? And he said, I'll get you one for your birthday. I was like, that seems like a lot for what it is. He goes, it's a birthday gift. So he picked me up the longer handle grip. And very recently, one of my very good friends, we were in one another's weddings, started getting back into the hobby and wanted to try to paint some. And so I'm giving him some advice. And I let him borrow that because he has, as he jokingly calls it, just bad tremors. We won't name any names that he says he relates his tremors to, but they're bad. Especially as he gets, the more tired he gets, the more shake he gets in his hands. And I said, I'm going to let you borrow this grip. You can play around with it, see what you think. And he's like, I wouldn't really bother. There's nothing to be done with it. And I let him borrow it. And he sent me this message like, I can't believe this thing actually does this. I said, I don't know that it's going to fix your issue, but if it doesn't, I don't know what will. And he's actually been buying more paints. He's actually getting into that side of the hobby, where to him before was purely like a army painter style dip and go from back in the day. But now he's actually enjoying the hobby. He's painting different things and trying out new techniques. And it's great to see. You know, Daniel here, unlike my buddy, is an incredible artist And so it's more than worth a try. And it's going to be good. You get one with the light set one. Yeah, the 70 mil is good for what you paint mostly, Daniel. And if you end up liking it, you can pick up the other sized bars. Like the 50 will sit right above the smaller minis, and then the 90, you may find it for others. This is a camo green. I'm just gonna, when I paint this in, I try to all but overtake the blue. Just so some of that blue hangs out and is, present in a way. I don't know if all three of these colors that I use are necessary to make this corrosion or not, but I kind of like the effect. I'm certain there are better ways. I know that there's a mixture that Games Workshop makes. It's probably the right way to do this, but we'll see. Almost seems like gradual building up. Wow, a name, Licorice Allcraft? Is that how you would say that? Please tell me how you would pronounce your name if I'm saying it wrong. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. And the final color I use is just a very pale green. Sort of verdigris pale. Licorice Allcraft. Perfect. Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you. What kind of crafts are you into? This is the color that, like, really makes it. Layer this thing in 2 stages. First, I stipple, and then I streak. Just like this. And the streaking. Let me flatten my brush a little bit. Chaos says, okay, mate, going to head off to watch some movies with the wifey. Have a good one. I'm glad you stopped by. It was excellent chatting. You have yourself a good evening. Oh, wait. If the finger painters think brushes are cheating, I'm sorry I missed your comment earlier. They probably do not. They probably think that's not finger painting. They probably think, don't call this finger painting with a brush. There you have it. Quick and dirty corrosion. Licorice says, mainly painting at the moment, but I also sew. Oh, there you go. Painting traditionally or working on some miniatures? Do one of these not have eyes? This one. Daniel says, be right back. Filling up on caffeine. Wrathcore says, that's a great idea. I'll drink to that. That's fun. I do enjoy me some good miniatures. If you are interested, not that I share too much what I do. I don't even have like a bot or anything, but here's a link to my Instagram if you're interested in seeing what I paint regularly. Licorice says Warhammer for the teen kid and big kid at home. There you go. Warhammer's one of the, probably just the most popular game in the miniature community. Easily recognizable. I personally have not played in years, but some local people recently got back into it, and they're trying to drag me in. I've so far avoided. There we go. What factions have you been working on? Yeah, I think that's pretty good. You've got to let that dry a little bit. We'll do his back end here in the short term. I think if I was to get back in and start buying models again, I would either play Orcs or Tau. Orcs were my original army I played back in the day. Like way years and years ago. But before I quit, I was also playing some Chaos, and then the last thing I was collecting were Tau. I just enjoyed the way that they played. I liked the way that they looked. I never fancied myself like a Gundam fan, but that style, a big old robot, I don't know. I liked them a lot. And then all the Fire Warriors, I like their armor too. They were pretty cool. Seraphim last year. Okay, that's cool. Are those like the Age of Sigmar? What, Seraphim? Not. Why am I drawing a blank? I could, you could fill books with what I don't know about these games. I like to do little fantasy models mostly. Little Hobbit here. I've been painting for 2 years, well, a little more than 2 years now. And here I was trying to do different textures, like, practice trying to make his vest a little bit shiny and maybe make his pants a little bit more worn. His legs need a lot of work. The skin tones do, at least. Wearing out the jacket. I roughly sketched in his backpack, but this needs to be like... I'd like to make this bag look like it's been dropped on the ground for several months, maybe years. That bag needs to look like it's worn every mile of road. And his hair is still basically primed. I hit it with like a blue-black wash, but I think I do want to keep his hair somewhat gray. But I think I need to actually paint it. I don't know what I want to do yet. I do know I want to fix this scalp line. It's too thick. Personal opinion. But I'll get there. Rosy up his cheeks some. Seraphim are the lizards. That's right. Back when I played, they were lizard men. But they've just evolved the game so much since then. At least, you know, from a lore standpoint and from a sculpting stand as well. Wrathcore says, I like the color variations, nice blue shadows and reds. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been, for me, learning a lot lately. The last 6 months or so, I've really been taking seriously. And one thing that scares the legitimate hell out of me are skin tones. And so I picked up this little bust to try to play around with. And as I refined the skin tones, I think I started hitting a good, some good things here on the living side. He's a vampire, and I thought maybe it'll be a long time since he's fed, in the way that he's kind of coming up. I thought maybe he'd be like perhaps coming up after feeding, and maybe the life was coming back into him. I don't know. I haven't really refined this side too much. I kind of wanted to leave what of him would be in shadow as more dead. Sorry for my nose. And I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. And the more I've looked at him, the more I think what I'll actually do is make the shadow portions on this side darker, like more malefic. And perhaps this mahogany tone is lively enough. I don't know. Complicated, for me at least. But I learned a lot of lessons from what I did do here. I still feel like this needs to be shaded more and this needs to be highlighted more. Like, it's such a cop-out to say more contrast. But I'm going to say it. Needs more contrast. But I did this with like a primary red and an olive green and a primary yellow, and then some inks, an orange, Payne's gray, lime green, and what was the other ink? Oh, magenta. And so I did like more of an academic approach to mixing my paints and playing back and forth. Like I say, academic. Ignore the fact that I played tic-tac-toe down here with my paintbrush. But yeah, trying to do new things, push myself to not just be comfortable with taking paint out of a pot. I think that's the important thing. Licorice says, love that idea. It works. Daniel says, I love this work you've done here. Oh, thank you guys. Okay. What was next? Oh, yeah. The lenses ought to be dry enough now that I can put the red down. Decided to go old school since I haven't played in forever. Give them all red lenses. Let's see if I can't ruin this on the old camera here. I should probably have a smaller brush, but smaller brushes are for quitters. hashtag. This gun is very not where I want it. I think the moral of the story is persistence. But yeah, that puts them all but panel lined. The most fun thing that I've done in this with this army so far, personal opinion, are these cloaks. I'm so happy with them, even though like they're like real stark and transition, but they came together so quick and so easy that I felt like these are just ready for the tabletop. Boom, done. They're pretty striking without a lot of work, if that makes sense. These guys all need some love. All right. Here we go. Let's see what we can do here. We'll start with the verdigris on this one. Again, my recipe of sloppiness. Because I sponged weathering effects, I suppose is the term. I don't know why my brain just broke. I'm just kind of using that as my point for some of these verdigris marks to keep them random. I acknowledged that when I was first doing these, I was very much generating a pattern. Like I'd put it here, 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 here. Like I was just like every single one of them was in the same direction, the same place. And so here I'll just pick out like a little mark that I sponged, and I'll use that as like a chip in the armor. I posted some photos on a forum in the amount of visceral hate I got for weathering a space marine that their armor doesn't ever rust. It's made of, they told me what it's made out of. I was like, alright guys. But then there was a lot of people that also were very supportive and said, look very cool. Like, I'm just trying to give the guy the effect they wanted. They sent me pictures of like the BioShock Big Daddies. I'm like, this, I want this. The only thing I really changed from what the client wanted to see done was they liked like a green shoulder pad, and I didn't think that that would look very good with the bronze kind of tones. So I switched them up to a red. And that was just me having an opinion. I don't know if that was the right thing to do, but where else? Maybe do a little bit in here. I think that'll be good. Maybe a little bit up here. Perhaps a little down here. Drip that down. Daniel says, I think you made the right choice with the shoulders. Yeah, truthfully, what I wanted to do was bright red. Client was like, I think purple might be more my speed. I was like, okay, burgundy it is. We will meet you in the middle. It's not like the other colors don't work. It's like painting for something that's going to be on a tabletop in a comic shop is very different than how you might paint to look at something under like a photograph, or something's going to be in a display case and be really well picked over. Not that any of my work is display quality or like competition ready, but it's sort of like the things that you might attempt to labor over are very different for the different like standards. Some things that I think are worth going through and laboring over might read really, really well when you have the model like this, but are the hours of effort worth it when somebody's looking at it from 3 feet away? Probably not. And getting that to translate has been my struggle, at least to some degree. Oh, his toes. Don't forget the toes. Has anybody in here used the Chimera paints yet? Been flirting with playing around with those pure pigment paints. I think they could be fun to play around with. The more that I get into painting, the more I kind of become of the opinion that the colors I want to own are always super vibrant. The reason for that is you can always desaturate, but you can't really make a color, not easily at least, more vibrant. You sort of have to change it. Yeah, Daniel says, not yet, but I fancy them. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. But I own so many paints already. Might be good to talk to about that. Might be Sam Lenz. Because I know Sam doesn't play too much with the hype trains and people getting you just spend money. I know he was super about the like red grass palettes and whatnot. Let's get some streaks. Licorice says, I was looking at them for an Alpha Legion army. They are designed to be mixed together. I don't know the practicality, if you're going to do a whole army, how much you'll enjoy mixing everything, but they are so cool. And I bet you because they would be added to other paints often, that you would likely get a long life out of those pots. Oh, here we gotta get a little bit more. I wasn't paying attention over here. I think I'm gonna do some more in the backpack here. I think maybe we'll pack, like, for whatever reason, way too much paint. Alpha Legion looks so legit, though. Those are the green guys, right? Alphasaurus or whatever. Yeah, I like just going nutso in, like, one area. Little by little, we'll get some of these details to pop. Maybe some back in there. Sometimes it's good to put, like, your highlights in your shadows, if that makes sense. Feel free to disagree with that. You're probably right to do so. Get the rest of these shoulder pads edged out here. That shouldn't be too bad at all. Okay, well, we're just making mistakes all over the place here. No. All details, check out the... No! God, no. Just trying to clean up this mistake. Had to ban a quick bot. Ain't no thing. Just off my game today, I'll tell you that. Probably just being in a hurry is all. We'll get little details done and then we'll black out the gaskets. This little detail here. Try to just keep this tidy as best I can. And then I'll use a larger brush to do the rest of the gun. Ah. That's good. Let's see here. What do we have? Oh, look out. Well, thank you all for the follows. Alright, where are we here? Good to go. Alright. Oh, look out, Glorious Badger. Good morning, how are you? Well, that are completely done and ready to be panel lined. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This guy will be the 9th. We got probably 20 still in the box. I've got a few models I'm going to be doing after this, and then I'm going to be done with the Marines for a while. Uh-oh. This is a terrible angle, and I'm so sorry. It's going to take me a minute to do, and it's not going to look good on camera, I'm sure of it. There's really no way around that, huh? I think that black paint may have been sitting a little too long on the palette. Maybe a little too much water in it. What are you gonna do? How about for you, Daniel? I know you've been struggling with some stuff, but Have you been trying to work on anything, or do you have anything that you're getting ready to start? Maybe playing any video games since you've not been painting as much? My one cousin got, I forget what the name of the Oculus is that has the, it just is a standalone unit, but he got one of those. That thing's pretty cool. Little red eyes. Dion says I have plenty to start. I did some spraying primer and have lots of God tier models or God tier to paint. I bought, oh man, says I bought all 3 new Creature Caster models. Damn, you went hard. Inks in the morning. Good morning, Inks. Howard. Bumped my elbow. Glad you stopped by. Hey, did I see Super Sarah? Look out. True celebrity in the midst. I'm glad you're doing well, Inks. Look at all these Pikachus. Daniel says I've still been painting as passion isn't gone, just the ability to do so. I'm hopeful that something like that, that grip will be helpful for you. I know that, like I said, my one friend has seen some success with it. And it's not just that Steven's the person selling them. They do work. They are good. Sarah says, LOL, ha 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 ha, and a big old R. Let's see about some verdigris here. How have you been, Sarah? Now that you're, at least for the time being, a bit of an expat. Says I'm following Sarah on Insta. Welcome. Who isn't following her on Insta? It's all the puppy pictures. I'm serious. I know she's going through a bit of a texture phase, but dogs never left us. I'm sick. Oh no. Icky. We got time for the ick. Get out of here. It's like a fly just bugging me. I don't know. Where did you come from? You're not alive right now. Go away. Sarah says, can't breathe through my face. So that's how it's going. Well, face breathing is overrated anyway. Are you in, I guess I should, how was this? Are you fine or are you find at this point? Probably find with a D. I think that was a old Friends joke. Let's see here. Put a little bit of this on the booty. We'll go with, well, maybe we'll pack some in right here. It's gonna be a good spot to put some. I am feeling all right. I was a little under the weather the week of Christmas, but here over the weekend things seem to have mellowed out. Starting to feel more like a human. I try to get to the gym a little bit. Being my size, I have to, or I'll morph into the shape of my chair very quickly. And I haven't been able to just because of the way I've been feeling, but I'm hopeful I'll be able to do that a little bit this week. Sarah says, note, I'm laying here trying to say fine. There seems to be an extra at the end. That's my benchmark for whether or not somebody should come be near me in the workplace. Tell me you're feeling fine. if it comes out fine, stay home. Little booty details right here. For those of you not familiar, Super Sarah is a super duper painter, and from the handful of conversations we've had, a super good time. So if you're not following, now you know. Go do that. Here I'm just taking some camo green and I'm painting over top of that cobalt blue. It's probably way more complicated than it needs to be, but I do enjoy the result. Super Sarah says, bought a light to paint my Mini I brought because the hotel light wasn't cutting it. I can imagine. And then I get sick and I don't have the energy to paint. Sarah, I'm going to give you some professional advice. If you're ready for this, you don't have to take it. It's not, obviously, you have not solicited the advice, but change your paint water often and keep cleaning your brush, because if you're a brush licker like me, you will continue to give yourself that sickness at a constant rate of nonstop. Keep the brushes clean. Keep yourself healthy. We got Fausty Minis. Is that how you might say that, Fausty? We got Danny M. Hey, dude. Well, hey, dude, back at you. We got a dude in the midst. How are you today? Super Sarah says, ooh, you giving him some patina? Oh, yeah. We're giving him a little verdigris patina. Just wait till I get these are just, the cobalt and this camo. They're just playing the drums and the bass. We got a lead guitarist coming up here soon. A little tealy action. Turquoise, paley mint green. It's gonna be so good. You'll forget these other two were even a part of it, but I feel like they're super necessary since we're on super subjects. Fausty says, LOL, yep, hey yo. Welcome, Fausty. One of my old classmates had the last name of Faust. We called him Fausty. Wrathcore says, Chris, I'm off to get some homework done. Hope to see you again next time. Stephen, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for stopping by. Anybody in here that's not following Wrathcore, just an absolute
fantastic painter. That's not my opinion. You can, if you don't agree with me, ask the stack of awards the man has. He's also the innovator of such things as this. And so, if you're not following them, go do that and enjoy their stream when they're on. And if you don't have one of these products, you should give them a shot, especially if you have any issues with your hands. This particular situation seems silly. It's not silly. If you're thinking, I don't know what do you even use that for, you'll use it. Believe me. Yes, Stephen. Have a great day. I'm glad to have you in. Everybody's sharing the love. Super Sarah says, look at this cute little face. Oh, you talking about this guy? Yeah, he's got a lot of work to be done. But I'm pretty happy with his vest. I've got some final highlighting to be done and a little bit of work on the pants, but those two are the most complete. His skin is a little bit washed out right now, but I think we'll bring some shadows in. He'll have a properly adorable face. Fausty says, looks like Bilbo. Does it not? It's such a cool sculpt. So well done. My webcam can't pick up all the details, but they are... the sculptor did a fantastic job. And I'm not one to like karma mine or anything like that, but I actually did at the sculptor, and he's made such incredible work, and that was nice to get some feedback from them. I am nowhere near doing the thing justice, but for me, it's so fun. If I was going to give this sculpt any kind of critique, it would be that it's definitely not original. Like, you're pulling on some serious strings that have been drawn in the past, but it's possibly the best executed of all of them, at least in terms of the sculpt. Wrathcore's on the way out. Thank you, sir. You have a good evening, or day. Not sure what time it is in Germany. Sarah says, yeah, cute face in that little hobbit guy. Certainly not over here. Definitely on there. This guy doesn't even have a face. What's he even talking about? All right, we were going to continue to work on this verdigris. Here's our final tone, this beautiful tealy pale green. Step 1, for me, I like to stipple. Step 2, we will streak. Again, probably more complicated a process than it needs to be, but I absolutely love the myriad of colors you get when you do it this way. And for me, it seems way cooler than just slapping some technical paint on it or glazing over an area. Super Sarah says, I'm supposed to stay awake until Hubs returns with food. Quit speaking in calming tones. Well, Sarah, wake it up. That's all I can say. I don't really have a whole lot of excitement in me, especially here at 7 in the morning. We bring as much excitement as we can. This is a riveting exercise in how to just stay awake, I suppose. I don't know. Fausty says, psh, you East Coasters. You don't know about the East Coast like I know about the East Coast, Fausty. Come on now. So if you're not East Coast, that means where I'm starting my day a little early, you run a little bit late. Now for the backpack. The backpack is kind of like the most important part of the Marine. next to the helmet. Let's see here. On here we can get some actual good streaks going. Stipple in here. Because this green is such a light, pale tone, it shows up far more vibrant over itself than it does these darker colors. So if I stipple down a couple of things. Oracle of Twilight, good morning. How are you now? And then I'll come through and do some streaking. You'll get to see some varied tones across the streaks just because they're going over top of themselves. Oh, things moved pretty quickly there. Lady Frenzy Wicked Truth. Good morning from Georgia, USA. Well, just a southern east coaster right there. Don't worry about that. Fasty says, nah, I'm a night shifter, so my day is actually ending. There you go. There you go. You're on one end where I'm on the other. Lady Frenzy says, well, yes, the backpack is next to the helmet. It, not only in that, but just in coolness. In the IMHO kind of world. Super Sarah says, yeah, I'm supposed to stay awake in case he needs to ask me what I want from the food truck. As fun as it is getting yummy foods, I'll be happy when we are vomiting money, when we are not vomiting money just to live every day. Possibly. Fausty says, yeah, the verdigris adds a nice touch to the color pop. I really like it. Yeah, the client really wanted something that was neutrally toned enough to sort of meta surf. Yeah, I felt like that's what you meant, Sarah. Or not. Try not to put words in a lady's mouth, but... I felt like we were on the same page. But in that respect, I felt like it gave me the opportunity to pop the color on the shoulders and the patina. Lady Frenzy says, what do you paint? What do you put in? I said words, Candy. Oh, goodness. This is getting out of order. This is going to get out of order in a hurry. Slipped away very quickly. It's like one of those scenes when like the news reporter catches something. They're like, can you explain to us what happened here? Like, it happened so fast. I don't know what to say. One minute we were talking about grips and, the importance of wet blending versus layering, and then Lady Frenzy came in with a wahahaha. Oracle of Twilight. Thank you so much. Keeping the coffee flowing here. Super Sarah coming in with some ideas. Here we got chocolate, fancy cheeses, LOL, when I'm sick, I just want junk food. Sorry, I don't know how to say this decently, but how do I explain to somebody that I don't feel sexy if I've had a lot of cheese? Just don't. Yeah, we're talking about these grips specifically. Look at that hype. I gotta fix that hype command. I just put a bunch of lightning bolts in sugar bowls. Lady Frenzy says, do you know Tyrannic Veteran? I do. I believe Tyrannic is somebody I follow both on Twitch and Instagram. see if I can't get in here without messing up the legs too much. Oh boy. Lady Frenzy says, well, it is his fault why I am here. How is that tyrannic veteran's fault? Tell me what it is. Oracle of Twilight says, I feel all sort of sexy when I eat cheese. I really get into it when I cut it. Goodness. Everybody in here with the entendre. Super Saiyan dropping the LOLs. How could you not? My black paint is set a little long on the palette, and it's absorbed a little bit too much water. By long, I think 2 days. But I'm just too lazy to get more paint, so here we go with the second layer. 2 thin coats, am I right? Lady Frenzy says, he shouted you out in Discord as going live, and I followed in from there. Well, that was super nice of them. Fausty says, highly technical technique there. That's how I do it. Naberation says, is this Minotaur? No, this is not specifically Minotaur, though I do realize after I started this project that Minotaurs are gold. These guys are more bronzy toned than gold, but they're just supposed to be a custom chapter that can justifiably be played as a number of different things. Oracle says, Space Marine. Yeah, the Space Marines are a... Who does the Space Marine? Is it Forge World, maybe? I'm not as familiar with the 40k universe, so bear with my ignorance. Naberation says Minotaurs are a chapter. Well, why am I answering what's already been answered? Fauci says the blowing to dry it off. I meant. Oh, it absolutely is. Oh no. Super Serious says everybody in temporary living is trying to use the Wi-Fi and messing up my signal. So you painting a whole army this way. Yes, I am. We are just working our way through all these little baubles. They're nearly ready to get panel lined. I put more focus on their top-down looks on account of, you know, what they'll be used for. Where are we at here? Super Sarah says that Fausty, I use a little bunny fan. What? A bunny fan. Nabarage says that Nomadic Chris. It's really close. Minotaurs are often gold or bronze plus red. It's a neat color scheme. Nothing wrong with looking like them. Mine are boring blue-gray. Well, blue-gray sounds like Space Wolf's colors, which are gorgeous to look at. Just realized they look a bit like the guys in the Astartes vid. Okay. Morgan Rowett Builder? Morgan Rohde? R-O-E-T-E. Morgan. I'm going to go with Morgan because I cannot enunciate. Thank you so much for the compliment. Yeah. Super Say says, ooh, fun. And Fausty says, I have a small hairdryer. Morning, Red Builder. Morgan is good. I'll go with Morgan. Gotta keep it simple for people like me. Oh, you know what I did earlier? I edged this shoulder pad and not that one. How classy. Super Sarah says, at Nomadic Chris, in my opinion, have IMO have a bunny fan to help dry the paint when I'm impatient, so I'm not sitting there blowing all willy-nilly like. Oh, I have. Yes. I heard you say you had a bunny fan, but I don't know what a bunny fan looks like. Is it legitimately a fan that uses, like, its ears? What are we talking about here? Is a bunny fan some type of fan that I'm not aware of? I very embarrassingly late in life learned what gingham was. I know nothing in life. Naberation says, so panel lines with enamels or acrylics? I will likely, my intent here is to varnish them and then use an oil wash. And then I'll mat them back and go from there. Naberation says, Super Sarah, I have a hair dryer I bought, an expensive one. I had to fight to keep it. Keep it too. Oh. Super Sarah says his has ears, face is a fan. You hold the body. That's adorable. It is 7:22. Look out. This party... Oh, darn. For those of you just joining, I keep a little wet brush on hand because I make mistakes a lot. I just clean them up. Naberation says, I love enamels but don't like the toxicity, so I only use them for super nice projects. I can get that. I don't like toxic things either. I very rarely strip models for that reason. There we go. That good coverage. There we go. Okay. Fix that little mistake from earlier. I don't know. I think these guys are fun. A little different to look at, but what the client requested, and they should be fun. Aberration says, I like toxic things on the internet, just not real life. Funny. Danny says, taking the kids to the park, gotta go. Enjoy the park. Enjoy the kids. You know, family time's important. Where are we? Fausty says, alrighty, I am happy I got to catch you this morning. I got to get to bed soon, so got to head out. Good luck on the Army. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. We're wrapping up here in the next 10 minutes anyhow. Got to start scouting somebody to pass this party off to. Oh, yeah. Not too many people on, but we'll pick something fun. Lady Frenzy with the follow. Thank you so much. Bunny fan also lights up. Where? Does it have like demonic little bunny eyes? Coming in with the bunny eyes? Get these little details here. Oop. Paintbrush is getting a little excitable. Getting some flyaways. This song has about 8 seconds to correct that. Incessant beeping. I think the rain just picked up outside. Sorry, LOL, messaging Hubs about lunch. Does the message say, hey, what about lunch? Not too bad, not too bad. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Trying to tidy up this little gasket here as well. There we are. This little that as well. Yeah, we'll get it on this side while we're at it. Not so bad. Okay. Little details. They kind of make the model. And I'll come back through and tidy up these gaskets with some metallic. I was very sloppy here around the cod piece region. Tidy that up as well. There we go. Super Sarah says, no, food truck line is really long, so figuring out something else. Yeah, fair enough. Nabaration says, so is this a bronze copper alloy since it oxidizes blue? Did you guys see the leaked pictures of the new Primaris land speeder and bikes? I have not. I am a very poor fan of the Games Workshop stuff. And I'm getting better. I used to play years and years ago, and getting to paint the new Marines has been kind of my first introduction back into the world. So I haven't seen those. But in terms of the armor, my thought, because you sit and look at something for so many hours, you start to come up with stories. My thought was something along the lines of like how the Death Guard got started, in the sense, or Death Wing, in the sense that I felt like these guys maybe ended up on a long forgotten planet, got held up, and maybe found some armor that belonged like in an ancient order, and had been stood out in the weather for millennia, as far as weathering occurred on some highly corrosive planet, where potentially it just adhered to the armor as opposed to actually eating it away. But they decided to don the armor of their lineage and maybe go out into battle, and potentially for the last time. But maybe they survived. Maybe they got their evac. Maybe they moved on. And now this is a symbol of that kind of elite tactical force, something to that effect. Sounded pretty cool. Justifies them being a little bit different, and adds a little flair to the story. Nabaration says there's this super blurred image. I'll try to find that later. I'm sure they'll be showing some stuff here soon. Since Sarah's trying to figure out new lunch, let's see who we have online that could be a potential raid target. There doesn't seem to be anybody but Metalhead on painting minis. What do you guys think? You want to go check out a traditional artist? We have Moon Squid is online. She's pretty cool. It says Shy's online, but I don't see him. Is it? Am I no longer following Shy? What's happening? I don't know. I can't find it. All right. We have asparagus for dinner tonight. Oh boy. Wait a second, what'd I miss? He's the best and waiting in line for Spud's baked potatoes. Pick a meat, then fill it with as much toppings, fillings as you want. It's heaven. There you go. Feels like all I eat these days is variations of chicken and asparagus and broccoli. That's funny. They're having asparagus tonight. Now that line makes more sense. Wish I hadn't read it out of order. Aberration says, is there a difference in name for white and green asparagus in English? Probably. I've never seen a white asparagus. Let's start there. Okay. So I think we're going to go raid... We'll raid Metalhead Minis. She's good. Excellent artist. And working on miniatures. And since I don't see anybody else online, and I can't find Shy, that's where we're heading. Oh, and she's working on Iron Man. So, everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. Hang on a second. Yeah. Thank you so much for stopping by. Aberration says, at Nomadic Chris, white asparagus is just green asparagus. It hasn't seen light. Odd, but cool. Super Sarah says, have a lovely day. Aberration says, but they are very different. I'm going to have to look this up. I do enjoy some asparagus. I like good veg. So, we'll see what it is. Yeah, I'm so glad everybody stopped by. Had a great time. You always keep me wanting to get up in the morning. I know it's not ideal, me getting up at 5 o'clock to paint, but having you all here to keep me company really keeps me after it. And my productivity as well as my capacity to paint have both grown greatly here over the last 4 months. We're going into 2020. This is my last stream of the year. And Aberration says, love the beard, by the way. Well, thank you. It's been quite the effort. I just leave it alone. But yeah, before we get auto-rated and moved on here, again, thank you so much for stopping by. The new faces, not to say the old, but the names that I've already known. Yeah, enjoy your new year. We'll catch you later on in the week. Let's go check out Metalhead Minis.
For the follow.